You have an idol in golf, and we all have idols, Ben Crenshaw, but you had an epiphany back in 1985, and it lends itself to kind of a misnomer about the idea of being still and being still right before you take it away. Share that story if you would.
Well, this is an unbelievable story. Ben Crenshaw, who was my idol on the putting green, because this guy made more long putts than anybody and had this just unbelievably fluid stroke. He told me one time, and it was in the mid-'80s, we were at Disney at the end of the year, something that I think all the golfers need to hear this, but it's a great tension reliever. Gary Smith was an instructor that was with me and wanted to video Ben's stroke, and I didn't know Ben that well. I asked him, I said, Ben, can we video your stroke? He goes, sure, but I'm not putting that well. He said, you're not putting that well? And, he said, I'm putting at the ball, not through the ball. And I said, well, what do you do to fix that? He goes, well, I want everybody to listen to this. I try and make my backstroke longer and make sure I let my head and my knees move. Move. And I said, what? And he goes, yes, watch this. And right then, John Houston, who was a great player, a great putter from Florida, he came on the green and Ben said, watch him. And he took a stroke and his knees moved ever so slightly. And as soon as he hit the ball, his head turned and followed. So his eyes followed the ball. And I think we all know that we try and stay too still, it's tension, when you're trying to stay focused and not move at all. I've putted a lot better by saying, okay, I don't care if I move a little bit. I don't care if my head moves and follows the ball, but I'm not going to stand too still.
You have a lot of examples of guys that do little things. Go back to the late Payne Stewart, Steve Stricker today. They do little things to create movement all the way up until the impact position.
Right, and this is something when people hear this movement in putting, I don't know, but if you watch today's best putter, Steve Stricker, giving lessons to Tiger Woods. Stricker, before he putts, he's always milking the shaft with his fingers, so he's always moving around. His toes tap. Before he takes it back, he has a slight bounce of the putter, similar to Payne. Steve puts the heel off the ground and he bounces that putter, and Payne did the same thing. I can remember that putt he made at Pinehurst to win the U.S. Open, but guys are moving a lot, and I like to see that motion all the time. My feet are moving, my hands re-gripping, my head's moving, I forward press the club, and then I putt. And guys do that, and they make a lot of putts.
Now, you mentioned the idea of movement, and you believe, and you want the recreational golfer to know that putting should be an athletic thing.
Right. And I see one thing I would say to all the tour players now, when you're always working on your stroke, whether it's with a device, to work on your arc, or a mirror to see if your eyes are over the ball, the essence of this part of the game is to make putts, and you need to practice making putts. And a lot of times when all you do is work on the mechanics of your stroke, it's really hard to remember, oh yeah, I got to make this ball go in the hole.
Explain to people your thoughts on the forward press and its effectiveness.
Right. Well, the forward press is what I call, it's a trigger to your stroke. And the forward press is something players use in their full swing. We all remember Gary Player. He had a press with his knee and his hands to start his backswing. Jack Nicklaus did the same thing with his full swing. But I like the forward press with the putting stroke to get some momentum and to start your stroke off. So when I feel like I'm set up and ready to go and my hands press towards the target, I'm not worried about whether the blade opens or closes or de-lofts a little, because I know in my stroke I'm going to make that up and I'm going to be able to release the putt properly. But that forward press is the trigger to get the good rhythm going right away.
For you in all your years, do you keep your eyes over the ball on the takeaway, or do you watch the head of the putter go away from the ball?
No, I'm not going to say I'm perfect, but I don't want to watch the putter go back, because a lot of times if I don't see it go back right, I'll get too nervous and hit a bad putt. But I definitely like to feel like my eyes are looking at the ball, and as soon as the putter hits the ball, my eyes follow the ball there. If I try and keep still, I pull more putts than anything else.
Can you tell when you watch a lot of recreational golfers and pro-ams if they are following the head and wondering whether they're taking it down the line, if they're taking it inside or taking it slightly outside? Can you see that?
Yeah, I can see that. And you can really see it based on their setup, and what I believe is the putter should travel back on an arc. And I think it goes inside your target line and it comes back to hit the ball on the target line and it goes back inside. The more upright your putter is, I think the more the putter will go straight back and the less the face will open and close to that target. The flatter you are, the further away you are, Fuzzy Zeller, the more the putter will come inside and go back inside and the more rotation the face has. But in a perfect world, because the putter's on an inclined plane and when it swings back, it has to go to the inside. It has to come back to square and then it has to go back to the inside.